helicopter had crashed out in this field, not too far from Loma Linda, Denver.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kathy?
Yeah, bow our heads here. Father, we thank you for, again, allowing us to come to this meeting to learn more for our mission. Father, we pray for this rain to keep people safe in their drive if they're still en route to our meeting, wherever they may be. Be with those who give us guidance and those who give us safety. In your name we pray, amen.
Thank you, Kevin. All right, tonight's Aerospace Education Night. We have XPN again to help us out with that. He does a great job, and I love to have him here. So, anyway, not a whole lot of stuff happening other than the rain and the weather. So, XPN, you want to go ahead and take the reins?
Awesome. Okay. So how's everyone doing tonight? Good?
Wonderful.
Yeah, just I know the wind, right? All of a sudden it was hot one day and then now it's really cold. It's just so weird. But anyhow, I hope you guys got my email. I was able to send out an email on your CAP email. It was about the Kobe Bryant helicopter crash. I know that it happened a couple of years ago, but I wanted to see if you could just take a moment just to kind of take a look at it. We're actually going to take a look at it about what kind of happened there. And the reason for that is because tonight we're going to be discussing aerodynamics and the similarities of helicopters and also airplanes as well, and the differences as well. But before we get to that, I want to just share with you a little bit of tonight's agenda. Okay, so we'll review the Kobe Bryant article and discussion. We'll go through the PowerPoint that I have, and then a video, and then we'll also do an assessment. Okay, but don't get scared. Okay, it's just a quick little assessment to see how much information you remember, and then the winner, we also have a gift card for Coffee Bean. Okay, so all right. So if really quick before we get to the discussion questions. Let's take a moment, if you can, like a couple minutes, maybe a minute and 30 seconds, just to kind of review that article, okay? If you have your laptop or maybe your iPhone, if you could just look for that email and just kind of review it, or maybe you already reviewed it before. I did send it about like 2 hours ago, but I know that people are busy and everything like that. But just go ahead and just take a moment really quick just to kind of scan through the article. And then I want to ask us some questions, and then we're going to have a discussion about what pilots do. And you know, you guys are the pilots, so I want to ask you guys those questions as well.
Okay.
I can tell you about the whole thing.
All right.
Thank
All right,
you.
so we'll go ahead and just take
Thank you.
like 45 seconds. 45 seconds. Some of you guys are probably saying, "Okay, you said 2 minutes. Now you went to 1 minute 30."
Yeah, what happened?
45
3, 2, and then a minute and a
Yeah.
half? Pretty soon it'll be 30 seconds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Should be
just
done at the ding. Ding.
yeah. So we'll just do put the timer on.
What article are we supposed to be reading?
I sent it via email.
The hyperlink here?
Yeah, that one.
This hyperlink.
Yes. Zoom this here.
We discussed this accident very lengthy one night here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Not recently, though, right?
No, when it happened.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
A lot of errors.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what we don't know if he had much of a pressure from Kobe Bryant himself.
And
Of course, he should have denied under the pressure to go up into the cloud. It doesn't make Kobe the,
That had to be the typical accident chain.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A series of things that if he would have just had one thing changed, it wouldn't have happened.
I agree.
But
okay, so real quick, we're gonna go and get started. So I know you guys are still scanning through it, some of you guys are still reading through it, that's totally fine. But what happened? Anybody want to share with us kind of what happened in that flight?
They died.
Yeah, they died, okay. What exactly, or what does the article say was the cause?
CFID.
Okay,
And VMC to IMC.
so it was the pilot?
Visual meteorological conditions to
He went from visual to IFR.
Okay.
Well, I think also specifically, he took off in SVFR, and that was already a sketchy decision.
Okay, so the conditions?
Yeah.
As far as I remember, he attempted to get clearance for SVFR, but the conditions were deteriorating faster than
Mhm.
anticipated.
Did you read in the article how it talked about disorientation? How he was also probably disoriented while he was crashing because he didn't do certain types of procedures that most pilots will do.
Hey, well, see, the biggest problem here, he went from visual flight rules above clouds, into clouds, descending to try to get underneath the clouds. And his instrument qualifications were nil.
That's another issue too.
Well, I think there's also
And
this.
so, when you talk about
So blind.
being disoriented, yes, if you haven't had a lot of practice doing instruments, you're gonna get disoriented, and you think you're going right when you really turn left, you think you're going up when you're going down,
Spatial disorientation, yeah.
and it will get to you every time.
So, Captain, so you were saying like lack of experience, spatial orientation?
Spatial orientation, yeah.
Okay, spatial orientation, okay.
I think there was also the legality of the type of flight they were doing.
Oh, really?
Should not have been performed in instrument conditions.
Yeah, the airplane wasn't certified.
Yeah.
Helicopter.
That, and I think because it was part 135, I think, it shouldn't have, like, it should have been VFR only while carrying passengers.
There's also an argument, and that's a good point there, there's also an argument, something known as continuation bias. Has anyone ever heard of that? Continuation bias?
I've heard get their itis.
Well, continuation bias basically it actually has to do with pilots. And it does talk about in the article that there's this tendency for sometimes pilots they know that they want to go from point A to point B. And sometimes, even if the conditions change, that they will still say, you know what, I still wanna do it.
Yeah, we call that get there-itis, yeah.
Okay. So, have any of you ever experienced that? You know, you guys are the pilots, you guys are the experts. It's called continuation bias, or like that feeling like even if the conditions change, you know, you kind of have this feeling like, I just want to do it. I want to get through it. Mike?
Oh, yeah.
That's happened to you
I'm sure
before?
that I've done that, directly or indirectly.
Well,
And I think,
yeah.
let's be honest, right? I mean, I was traveling to my brother's house. This was in Palmdale about 2 years ago, and it was it was raining really, really like cats and dogs. It was horrible. I knew the conditions were really, really bad, but I kind of wanted to still go. So I kind of just went through it, and I kind of, I was kind of hitting myself afterwards because it started snowing really bad while we were actually out there on that one major highway to go to Palmdale. I forgot what it's called, but it's really dangerous.
395?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's just like one way, and it started snowing.
It's 14.
And I didn't have any chains, and so Mike says he's experienced that. Have you guys ever experienced that too?
Yes?
Sounds like tonight.
Yeah.
Come in here
well, like
tonight,
tonight, right? Yeah,
yeah.
tonight, yeah. You know, so some people have made the argument that it could have been that also too, continuation bias, they call that. And then somebody also, I heard you guys discuss a little bit. Somebody also, Andre, I think I heard you mention something that we can't ask Kobe, but you know, maybe there could have also been some pressure from the celebrity.
Yeah, there was definitely a pressure from a celebrity, and he wasn't the only kind of in charge person in the helicopter, which led a pilot, although pilot was rated for instrument flying, but he wasn't proficient, meaning that he didn't have enough experience flying in instrument conditions.
So lack of experience.
So under the pressure, have to get there no matter what, he assumed he can do it, but he was wrong because he wasn't really experienced enough to deal with conditions.
And see, he had flown that same flight a number of times.
Very good point, Kevin.
So, in my viewpoint, because he had flown that flight
Many
a number
times.
of times, taking those people up to that area, his decision was, I can make it,
So it was this.
without looking at the total picture. And I'll give you an example. I was supposed to fly my wife and my daughter to a gymnastics meet up north.
Okay.
I started looking at the weather. And I said, I'm gonna make my decision tonight, because the weather's there, my plane doesn't have any icing, we can get there in 2 hours, that's fine. If you have to drive, it's gonna take you at least 4.5, 5 hours. So, when it was time to leave, I said, you're driving, and I'm not flying. She drove, the weather was crappy. And it was a good thing that she drove. The only bad thing is she ended up with a flat tire. Had to wait 2 hours for someone to come clear out on Highway 5, on the Interstate 5 to change the tire for her. But that's the way I've been. I mean, I've taken some chances, and when I was young in the Navy, I took a lot of chances a lot of times. But I just say, you know, it's not worth it. I've seen a lot of people kill themselves because they had to get there on a Christmas Day, because they got a new pair of golf clubs and they find them in Banning Pass.
Like me and my brother, yeah.
Dead, and, you
Yeah.
know, I'm sorry, but I just got to a point that says, you know, it isn't worth it.
Well, that's actually really good that you share that story, and you know, not a lot of people are able to do that. You know, some people will say, well, wait a minute, I've taken my daughter up north many times, right? Because you've done that trip many times, right? So, you know, but you made that.
Well, I don't have 3 engines, I only got 1 engine, that's another issue too, see.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can
so-
only get to 12,500, I can't get to 25 or 30,000, see? But I'm just serious, that we do this all the time, and then we think we can make it. We can do that, we know where we're going,
Mhm.
and it backfires on you.
It always, yeah.
It's like that guy that going through the pass over here,
Go.
not the Cajon, this pass going to
Wilmore
Beach.
Banning?
No, that, the other way,
Oh, over,
Corona.
yeah, Corona,
Right, the guy that hit the cables going over
Yeah.
with his.
This guy's been
his airplane.
scud busting, going to
Yeah.
work all the time, he came out of Temecula.
Yeah, he used to go there every
And he
morning.
used to
and he'd go
follow the
work.
91 and cut across the canyon, and one day he hits the power lines and kills himself.
Wow.
Scud busting, that's flying underneath the thing, you know, along the road and 50
When
feet
did this
above the
happen,
ground.
10, maybe 15 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Gotta be 15, I think.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, it's a while ago.
Yeah, that's a
But
pretty
I mean,
rare crash.
you know those cables that go across, right?
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
right there, Green River, they
Yeah.
go across, great big cables.
Yeah.
One of those cables was cut by his airplane,
Wow.
right, severed, and it fell down. And it took them almost, what, a month to fix it? Because,
I don't recall.
you know, they had to work over the freeway and, you know, fix that cable, so.
And he had done that flight multiple times, but this time he decided to fly under.
Well, he'd been scud busting for years.
Yeah,
Oh.
he just
You know,
He
there was
just
that, yeah, I can make it, I can make it.
didn't know where those cables were that day because they were in the fog or clouds, so.
Yeah, yeah, it
No,
kind of
that's
goes
it.
back to this whole thing that the article was talking about. Okay, good. Well, that was a great discussion. So, were any of the 4 forces of flight affected really quick? Anybody? Would you say? You know, so weight, thrust, lift? Would anybody argue? Make a point.
Until you hit something.
Well, they all worked against him, right? What were you gonna say, Mike?
I said, until you hit something, they all were fine. They were all probably normal.
Well, obviously, right, until you crash. Okay, and then we did discuss continuation bias. Well, we're gonna skip that part right here, but, so the objective tonight is to kind of understand a little bit of the 4 forces of flight, how that's also similar, obviously, with the airplanes and helicopters, helicopter differences, and then just to kind of learn from our peer experiences, you know, so how Cappy was mentioning how in his experience, he made a decision, a critical decision, and that's something that we all have to do too. Even if we have pressure from family or even people, we have to make that decision, that important decision. So my hope is that we'll learn through our own experiences as a good discussion, the helicopter differences and then the 4 forces of flight.
I have a couple of comments from chat. Roy Knight,
Oh,
disorientation, and then he flew full speed into the ground, lost his SA totally.
SA is situational awareness.
Full speed to the ground. Yes, he did. Yeah, and the disorientation. Okay, good.
Does anybody know what date that was, date and time by any chance?
It was, I think, wasn't it January 29, 2020? Or 28? I know it was January something. It was somewhere around there.
I just looked up Kobe Bryant. I looked up Kobe Bryant.
But while you guys do all that,
January 26th.
oh, 26, okay. I knew it was somewhere like right before February because people were saying, oh, 2020 is going to be horrible.
January
And then it
26th,
turned out to be,
2020.
You know what time?
that year was pretty rough for everybody.
That was 12, 1300, somewhere around there, 1400.
Well, I'm gonna look up the, flight and maybe we can play the flight so everybody can see it.
Yeah, okay, that'd be great. While we do that really quick, just really quick, how long have helicopters been around? Anyone? Anyone want to take a guess? We'll start with Andre.
Probably around 80 years.
80 years, okay. Lonnie?
Since Da Vinci.
Did you see my slide?
No.
Okay,
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, it goes back way, goes back.
Good job.
Well, yeah. Okay, I think you saw my slide ahead.
But the first commercial one was an auto jar.
Well, yeah. But I meant design. So since Andre's like, that's not what your question was. Yeah. So since 1486, Leonardo da Vinci designed the very simple first helicopter. That's what they say. However, some scholars do disagree. They say that it was probably the Chinese back in AD 320, Ko Hung, who described a Chinese flying top. Okay, so there is some little disagreement there, but this just has to do with the design part. So just the design part, not the actual build part. They also became very, very popular. Anyone want to guess at what type of war, or which war did it become very popular? American War. Vietnam War. Yes. Do you want to share, Lonnie, maybe why it was popular?
Get the troops in and out.
Yep, to get the troops in and out. And that's actually one of the biggest differences, obviously, with airplanes, is that you're able to kind of go into those tight places for medical evacuations, all those kinds of things as well. So it was highly used in Vietnam, and it got really, really popular during that time. Okay. I think a lot of us already know this, but we kind of discussed them. What are the 4 important forces that influence a helicopter's flight? Anyone want to guess? They're very similar to an airplane, if not. Exactly the same. Exactly the same. You want to say it, Andre?
Thrust, drag, lift, and weight.
And weight. So thrust, drag, lift, and weight. Okay, very, very good. So may the forces be with you. Okay, or may the force be with you, Star Wars. So thrust, lift, drag, and weight. Very good. So just really quick, just a brief review for our folks in the internet too, and folks that are here as well if you don't understand. But lift is basically the force that pushes up the helicopter caused by the blades. Okay, the horizontal rotor and the blades. Okay, a more technical term is right over here, and it's basically lift is produced by the pressure differences caused by the shape of the rotating blades. This is the same way lift is produced by aircraft wings. So it's the same way. The rapidly moving air over the top of the blade creates low pressure. The air beneath the blade is moving slower, so it creates higher pressure. The high pressure under the rotor blades creates lift, which causes the aircraft to rise. Okay, so we're not going to do the paper model thing, but just an example here. As a frisbee flies through the air, lift holds it up. If you gave the frisbee thrust with your arm, direct from the air, made the frisbee slow down. Yeah, okay, well, there's just lift. Okay. Thrust, the force pushing a helicopter forward through the air caused by tail, rotor, and blades. I'm going to move through these quickly so we can get to our activity. Drag is the force working against thrust caused when the air molecules hit the surface of helicopter, slowing it down. Any example of drag? What's an example of drag?
So resistance.
Anything hanging out there in the wind.
Anything hanging out there in the wind? Okay, resistance. Okay.
Design of your craft.
Okay. Very good. How about weight? Weight is the force working against lift caused by gravity's downward pull on the helicopter, affected by the kind and also the amount of material present. Okay, so that's a big thing there. All right. Why would you, is weight important? Anyone want to elaborate on that?
Oh, helicopter can only generate so much lift.
Because it can only generate so much lift. Okay. Anyone want to add on to that?
Well, the same as airplanes, if you overweight the aircraft above its limits, it will not fly.
It will not fly.
According to expected performance.
According to expected performance. Okay. Okay, so really quick, this should be a really easy one to kind of like discuss a little bit. But I think pair share activities, real quick. What are the differences in the way helicopters and planes fly? Just really quick. We'll do it at idea wave, okay? That means we'll start from the back and you just say one word. Or a couple words. What's one way?
What's what?
What's what are the differences in the way helicopters and planes fly?
Or differences, so.
Just one.
Just.
Just one.
It's like helicopters are so complicated.
I'll start over here.
Rotor.
Okay, there you go. Because it's like a wave.
Direction of flight.
Directional flight, all right. Cappy? What's one of the differences in the way helicopters and planes fly?
I would just say lift.
Yeah.
Okay, lift. All right.
They can hover.
It can hover, right? Helicopters can hover. Planes,
But that's
Most
lift.
planes cannot.
yeah, most planes cannot.
Some lift. Airplanes have to have forward speed to get the lift. The helicopter does not. He's already got a wing that rotates it, tries to lift.
Very good, very good. Thank you. So differences do exist, okay, with helicopters, and I'm just gonna put this up here. A lot of you guys got the right answers. Helicopters gain lift as moving air passes over the horizontal rotor. Remember I was telling you about the rotor? They gain thrust as air moves over the tail, okay? The tail rotor blades. They can hover. Somebody said hover. I forgot who it was. Oh, okay, David, our PIO. He mentioned that they can hover and stay in one place. And they can also rise and land vertically. And that's very helpful, especially to get to those special places that they need to get to help people. They can take off and land in tight spaces. They can also fly at slow speeds compared with airplanes. They are unstable by nature and they require constant pilot monitoring. They can't easily correct course also. With airplanes, they gain lift as moving air passes over the fixed wings or propellers. They receive thrust from jet engines, rockets, or propellers, and in most cases can't hover or rise and land vertically like Andrea mentioned as well. They cannot also take off and land in restricted places, fly at high speeds compared with helicopters. They do fly at high speeds. And then they're stable by nature but do not require constant pilot monitoring. Often they can correct themselves as well. Okay. But yeah, obviously we want the pilot to monitor. Okay, so really quick, I'm gonna go to this video really quick. We're gonna watch this little video and then we're gonna take a quick little assessment. And I might have to, David, I think share the sound to this, huh?
The first controlled and sustained flight of an airplane was conducted in December of 1903 by the Wright brothers. Years passed, and airplanes became increasingly more sophisticated and powerful, but their design and functionality had several limitations. They needed a long runway to take off and land, and they weren't all that effective for certain purposes. These problems were solved, however, when another powerful flying machine was invented, the helicopter. A helicopter, or chopper, is a type of aircraft that uses rotating wings called rotor blades to fly. They are a critical component of any helicopter's flight. Helicopters have several advantages over fixed-wing aircraft. First of all, they don't need long runways to operate. They can take off and land pretty much anywhere. It doesn't matter if you're in the middle of a forest or the backyard of a house. Choppers, when it comes to accessing small places, can do a lot that airplanes simply can't. This comes in very handy during military operations or even civilian and medical emergencies. Choppers can also pause mid-flight to load and unload cargo, which is why they're so widely used during rescue operations around the world. Although helicopters can't go as fast as airplanes, they are much more maneuverable and offer a great deal of flexibility in terms of the places you can go. But what makes a helicopter fly? Once a helicopter is off the ground, 4 aerodynamic forces act on it: weight, thrust, drag, and lift. Weight is the combined load of the helicopter, which includes the weight of the helicopter itself, its crew, and the cargo. This force pulls the helicopter downward as a result of gravity. Thrust is the force produced by the rotation of the helicopter's blades. Its direction can be forward, rearward, sideward, or vertical. Drag is the force that opposes the movement of the helicopter through the air. Finally, lift is the upward force acting on a helicopter that pushes it up and keeps it in flight. For any object to fly in the air, it must have the force of lift pushing it upwards. But for that to happen, the air must pass around an airfoil. An airfoil is any surface that produces more lift than drag when passing through the air at a given angle. So what's the airfoil in a helicopter? It's spinning blades. The blades of a chopper are uniquely designed so that they can generate lift. More specifically, they are curved on top and flatter on the bottom. This curved shape makes airflow faster over the top, which causes the air pressure on top of the blades to decrease. This happens due to Bernoulli's principle, which states that an increase in the speed of a fluid occurs simultaneously with a decrease in the pressure exerted by that fluid. In simple words, what this means for helicopters is that when air flows at a faster rate above the blades than below them, air pressure on top of the blades decreases. This air pressure difference between the top and bottom layers of the rotor blades generates lift, which gets the helicopter off the ground and keeps it in the air.
And that's what we were talking about.
The physics of flying an airplane is precisely the same as a chopper. An airplane flies by moving very fast so that enough air passes over its wings to provide lift, whereas a helicopter flies by rotating its blades very fast through the air to generate lift. However, no helicopter can fly with just one set of rotating blades. This is because of Newton's third law of motion.
And I think that
For
happened
every
in
action,
Ford.
there is an equal and opposite reaction. Apply this law to helicopters, and you'll realize that the rotating blades would cause the body of the helicopter to rotate, albeit somewhat slowly, in the opposite direction. This kind of twisting force that causes rotation, also known as torque, would make the helicopter totally uncontrollable, which could have disastrous consequences. Therefore, this torque generated by the main rotor blades must be compensated for somehow, which is where the tail rotor comes into play. You may have seen a second, smaller rotor mounted on or near the tail of a helicopter. This is called a tail rotor, a sideways pointed propeller powered by the engine of the chopper. This rotor counteracts the torque generated by the main rotor, thereby ensuring that the aircraft remains stable during flight. In some choppers, the tail rotor is built directly into the tail. This design is called a fenestron, or fantail. There are other designs of helicopters that don't have a physical tail rotor at all, but instead use a different method to counteract the torque produced by the main rotor. For example, a second rotor can be mounted below the main rotor. The blades of this rotor will spin in the opposite direction to compensate for the torque created by the main rotor. Some choppers also have rotors mounted on either end of the craft that serve the same purpose. Helicopters steer in a given direction by generating more lift on one side than the other. Basically, when they need to go left, they generate more lift on the right, and vice versa. Some choppers can even fly upside down. An inverted chopper can use its blades to generate lift towards the bottom of the chopper in the same way it normally uses it to generate lift upwards.
Has anyone ever
You may
seen
have
that?
seen stunt sequences in
Yeah.
movies where helicopters fly belly up. Needless to say, this is a very complicated and potentially dangerous maneuver to pull off. There are a ton of mechanical limitations to flying a chopper upside down, considering that regular helicopters are not designed to fly belly up. Such a risky flying maneuver is usually executed by highly trained pilots in specially designed helicopters. Helicopters can also not fly as high as airplanes. It's common for commercial airplanes to fly at altitudes of 35,000 to 40,000 feet. For helicopters, that range is much lower, as they usually don't fly above 10,000 feet. The higher you go in the air, the lower the air density becomes. This negatively impacts the amount of lift the blades can generate, as the air becomes too thin for the functional requirements of a helicopter. This is one of the reasons why it's considered so dangerous to fly helicopters in high altitude regions. However, specially designed helicopters can fly much higher than regular helicopters and can be used strategically for special purposes. Now, what if a helicopter's engines fail mid-flight? What happens then? In the absence of engine power, rotors don't have enough energy to overcome aerodynamic drag on their own, so the chopper will begin to lose altitude. Since it's the air flowing over the blades that allows a chopper to fly, a safe landing is still possible in the event of an engine malfunction. Without the power of the engine, you would need to maintain a minimum RPM. In other words, you would have to ensure that the rotor blades maintain a minimum rotating speed. To that end, pilots are trained to use airflow to their advantage. The phase of flight when the main rotor blades of a helicopter spin by the action of air moving up through them, rather than the engine's power, is called auto-rotation. Pilots often use auto-rotation to safely land choppers in the event of engine loss or some other type of critical damage to the aircraft. The United States Army actually presents the highly regarded Broken Wing Award to aircrew who minimize or prevent loss of life through outstanding airmanship during emergencies. Helicopters can be used for a variety of purposes, including acting as aerial ambulances to transport patients and military combatants. They can be loaded with water that can then be used to extinguish raging forest fires. Radio and television stations fly helicopters over metropolitan areas to report on live traffic conditions. Military forces even use them to transport troops and attack targets. Needless to say, helicopters are an invaluable part of the aviation world. In the end, a helicopter's power comes down to its rotor blades and their ability to continue generating enough lift. That's probably why there's a very fitting expression in the world of aviation. Helicopters don't fly, they beat the air into submission.
There. Okay, great. Okay, so really quick, I know, Kevin, you had mentioned a little bit before we started, I was overhearing a little bit the discussion. You were having a discussion with someone about auto-rotation. Can you share with us a little bit about that? I know that there was an accident that happened in Newport. There was also an accident that happened in Florida with helicopters. Can you kind of just elaborate a little bit kind of about auto-rotation?
The auto-rotation is when an engine fails, they're using the blades to still design lift by speed,
Okay.
and as they get close to the ground, they can change the pitch to increase the lift and slow their descent down, and allow them to safely crash land, if I could use that term, and hope that they can get away with it without any serious injury. So auto rotations are continually practiced all the time by helicopter pilots as engine out, just like in aircraft, engine out, we end up using glide ratios and et cetera to get to a destination or to a field.
So pilots are trained in that?
Both in fixed wing and in helicopters.
Okay.
So, what was the second question you were asking?
No, you had mentioned something about that an incident happened in Florida.
Oh, the Florida. Well, the Florida one,
And
when
it
you
had
look
to
at
do
the,
with
when you look at the video that was shown on that, there was no auto rotation. In other words, the aircraft was nose down in a straight line and flew straight into the water. Luckily, nobody was hurt on that one. And actually, people got out there to try and save them and actually got them saved. On the one end, at Newport Beach with the police helicopter, on the video, it showed a rotating light to the crash. To me, that means that the rotor, the rear rotor, which keeps it from turning, either failed, which caused it to rotate around the blades, the fuselage around the blades, and then in turn spiraled down into the water. So we have two incidences where two of them crashed in two different ways.
It's my opinion that both helicopters had a failure in the tail rotor,
And that's what caused it.
and that's what caused both crashes. And this is my opinion, just based on what I saw in the videos. The one in back east, Florida, they were using speed to keep them straight, and they were doing an auto rotation to the ground. And because if you get enough speed, that actually it'll go over the rudder, I mean the tail,
Anti-torque.
huh?
Anti-torque.
Yeah, anti-torque. It'll go over that and keep the thing straight in line. But you still have to do an auto rotation, but you have to be going about 70 or 80 miles an hour. If you look at that one, it's very, very fast into the water. The one in Newport Beach was at night and they lost control and they couldn't really see anything. So you could see that thing spinning,
So do you think the
so they
tail
couldn't
rotor
do the
went,
same kind of a,
You
the
think-
same kind of a
do you think
landing.
the tail rotor went out on the Newport one?
Both of them, actually, I think, that's what I think.
And possibly, maybe the one, when we're going back to Kobe Bryant, we don't know, right? I mean, well, they were actually saying that it could have been disorientation. That could have been, and
That's what the
then,
NTSB came up with.
yeah, and then the conditions also too, but maybe
And
he
the other
lost.
thing, the other thing that's very important with the Kobe Bryant is that there was no GPS, so he had no idea where he was. He didn't know where the mountains were or the hills, and he was descending at speed, and by the time he saw something, it was too late. Now, it says that Kobe
With a very
used this
expensive
company a
helicopter.
number of times, and this, on the same airplane, so he had faith. We're going back to, we don't know whether Kobe was an instigator and I gotta get their itis.
I don't know, can you guys see the screen there?
But
That is the last flight for Kobe Bryant's helicopter. The top is the path of what they did.
So right here,
The
right?
the top picture, that's the path.
So they started off here.
No, they started the other
Yeah.
side,
Oh, here,
right.
In Orange County.
And if you watch, I'm gonna play this,
okay.
and it's at 10 times the speed, so you gotta watch. So they took off from there, and if you watch them, they're doing, you know, they're at 600 feet, doing 180 miles an hour. Then they did some turns and spaces here, you see it? Right here?
Mm-hmm.
They were disoriented right there. Then he kinda got his bearings of where he's going, unless they were sightseeing, by the way. And then they crashed right there.
Because I think
Supposedly
if,
they were waiting for a special VFR.
Yeah, he was talking to the tower, that's right, that's
And then
right.
there
So he
was a-
was
there was a
spinning around
change.
and doing
because I
things.
think if he was out of control in that incident earlier, he would have probably stopped. I mean, if he got his bearings back,
He had
probably
an
would've pulled.
opportunity to land in a nearby airport,
Mhm.
so he still decided to.
They were
press.
pressured and pushed on, so.
Mhm.
And this is where he crashed. And if you look at the speeds and profile at the bottom, you can see it's very erratic. There's the yellow, I believe, is miles per hour, and the green is altitude. So you can see he was up and down and around, and his speeds were, you know, in and out. So he was disoriented there at the very end. You see it there.
Wow.
So that's the Flight
See,
Trader
he-
24, or excuse me, that's Flight Aware, where they record all the flights.
And if you look at the debris field, which is quite extensive,
Mhm.
he was going pretty fast.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you look at the very end, he was doing, well,
What was he doing,
140
I'm
miles.
pretty certain the green line is the speed.
Especially during those conditions
So
too.
it's close to.
yeah, he was doing 140 miles an hour when he hit the ground, looks
Wow.
like.
And that's forward speed, not even
Yeah.
downward speed.
Yeah.
And
Now-
I think the ADS-B data would show you the descent rate too.
What's that?
I think the ADS-B data shows you the descent rate.
If you look up the data, yeah, you can see descent rate. I just have this, so.
Yeah.
Now, how many?
Which was very, very fast, by the way. I think it was
Yeah.
like 6,000 feet a minute
Yep.
or something at the very
Yeah,
end.
because I'd heard something specific about if you look at near the end of it, especially the ADS-B data, it looked like he got disoriented and in your rotor head. So there's something about spatial disorientation in helicopters is specific, and there's a specific thing you have to do. And if you're not proficient at it, that's what makes you lose control of the helicopter. And it looked like by the data, he lost control of the helicopter initially, and the helicopters don't stall the way planes do, but the final moments.
Well, actually,
were because-
helicopters do stall, but.
They do stall, but not like
Yeah.
planes do. But he lost control of the aircraft while spatially disoriented, and that's actually what caused the fatal plummet.
And I think that's what the agency was basically determined also too, so that's an agreement as well. Real quick, how many of you have any of us flown a helicopter or been inside a helicopter? Oh, okay.
A 1 hour interval.
Oh, really? Okay, Lonnie, can you share your experience? Were you a pilot or were you in a
No, I was thinking a joyride on a Huey when I was stationed in the Black Hills of South Dakota.
Oh, wow, okay.
So
nice.
I don't know how I got on, but
What was your experience? Did you like it?
loud,
It was loud?
loud. That's one thing I remember.
Yeah, all right, Andre?
It was very interesting. I flown as a passenger and as a pilot in introductory flight.
Oh, you were a pilot?
For 1 hour.
Oh, for 1 hour, okay, and you're still a pilot?
Yeah, it was interesting to have an ability to hover.
Mm-hmm.
And you can slow down to 0 speed.
Was it easier than flying a plane?
It's a little different muscle work.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think Michael can share more.
I'm actually a commercial rated helicopter pilot.
Oh, you are?
I am,
Oh, wow.
so,
Okay, good, okay. Oh, so you've flown them a lot of times?
well, yeah, I have about 135 hours in a
Wow.
helicopter, but that's not that much,
Yeah,
really.
awesome, okay. Anyone else want to share their experience?
Just right along.
Just a ride along?
I
Okay.
didn't like it.
How about you, Christopher?
Just riding one.
Ride along too?
Yeah.
Okay, just hop on wood, right? Okay, now, there was a mention about an upside down helicopter. And I did see a lot of folks that said that they saw one before. Where did you guys see one?
Air show.
Air show.
Yeah,
Air
there's,
shows?
there's actually one guy that's specially built his helicopter to do that.
Okay,
And
because
he
I've
does,
never
and
seen
he does
one, so-
loops, I mean, he does loops for the air show, and,
It's a
And,
huge
I think the Red
500.
Bull helicopter does it too.
yeah.
The Red Bull helicopter, they like doing crazy
But
stuff.
very special rigid blades to do that, so.
Yes, yes. Now, I did want to share really quick, let me go back here to PowerPoint here. Let me go up to- there we
I don't
go.
know if there's more than one or not. I know there's one.
Hughes 500.
Yeah.
You
I
use
just want to
500 to
share,
do that?
Does the loops. Yes, he does the loops.
I did want to share, just remember the Jaeger exam, and I've mentioned that before in last month as well. So last month, we covered the flight history, the history of flight and the purpose of that. And tonight, we're covering just a little bit about aerodynamics, and we're going to continue that part. It's actually part 3 of the Jaeger exam, and that's the whole reason for this as well, for this type of presentation. So I kind of wanted to change it up a little bit, instead of just planes, kind of talk a little bit about helicopters, and then also a current event as well. So that's one of the main reasons why we're covering that. So I always I should have brought that up in the very beginning, how it's linked to the Jaeger exam, because I want everybody to be able to take the Jaeger exam and pass it. Okay, so that's very, very important too. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go on Kahoot. So you're gonna go to use your phone, and you're gonna we're gonna play a game. All right, and it's gonna be Kahoot.it. All right, and then I'm gonna give you the passcode. So I just gotta get there first.
You have to put in your memos, bring your laptop or your most favorite toy to do your stuff with.
I know, right? So I gotta log in really quick here. So, as I get in here, the way Kahoot works, and I'm sure we've done it before as well, on your phone, once you enter the ID number, you're just gonna enter a name, okay? So there should be at least 5 of us, and then also some folks on the internet too. And then
It's asking for a game pin.
yes, so I'm gonna go to it right now. Let's see, it's a little funky here on my phone, iPad. Library. Okay, there we go. Okay, it's just loading right now. Have you played Kahoot, Chris, before? No? Okay. Okay, I think everybody else. Oh, Andre, you've never played it before, huh?
I've seen my kids play. It's part of school assignments.
You're right, yeah. Okay. Well, now you're gonna experience it. Okay. All right. So classic mode. Sorry, the internet. It's a little.
Do we have a game pen yet?
It's coming right now. There it is. 1877031. I don't know how come the music's not sounding. Usually the music should come on. I'll write it real big over. Well, it's right there. 1877031. Okay. All right. So this is just a really quick one. I didn't do too many questions, okay? And then also, for the activity also too, I just kind of shortened it as well. Because normally we probably try to do like some helicopters and create some of those models. All right. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. 3, 6, 7. Oh wow, we got some probably somebody on the internet. So you select the color for the one that you think is right. Helicopters fly differently than airplanes in terms of aerodynamics. Blue is true, false, red is false. So you're going to select the color blue if you think it's true, the color red if you think it's false. So, helicopters fly differently than airplanes in terms of aerodynamics. I'm laughing because some people are going to end up winning, and then so somebody said that it's true, but it's really false. Okay, it's really false. Okay. All right. Hey, you is number 1, followed by Zan, and then Chris, and then Andre's right behind Chris, and then Swift.
I got 0.
I didn't want to say it like that. Okay, but
That's
you're in the
okay.
top 5.
I don't care.
You're in the top 5.
Yeah. You mean the bottom 5?
Yeah. Bottom 5. Helicopters started when? And then if you see the little dog, the little thing. Red for 1400s, yellow for 1500s, blue for 1990s, green for 1700s. Yeah, actually, the right answer is in the 1400s, and I forgot to change the answer. So,
So we all got it right.
This ain't right.
Yeah, that's my fault. I know, that's my fault. So it wasn't.
So
the
we get that
1500.
one, huh?
Yeah, but I don't know how to do that on here. So. Okay, so.
Everybody gets 0 on that one.
Yeah, so Hey You still gets first place. Okay. All right, here we go. Everyone ready? All right.
I want to change
Next.
my name.
Yeah, because you're in the bottom. Lift is produced by the pressure differences caused by the shape of rotating blades. Blue is true, red is false. Lift is produced by the pressure differences caused by the shape of rotating blades. It is actually true. Okay, it is actually true. Lift is produced by the pressure, the high pressure, the low pressure, caused by the shape of rotating blades. All
Doesn't
right.
have to rotate. Blade.
Well, we're talking about helicopters,
Your wing,
so.
your
Yeah.
wing doesn't rotate.
Yeah,
No.
But it's the same as an airplane, so it says what it was.
Yeah.
I object.
All right, Hey You is still first place. Zan is second place, followed by Chris, Andre, and then Swift. I think Zan was already still second place. I don't think it's changed really. Okay. Also, it goes by speed too, so if you put your answer faster, then you can move up a level. Drag is force against thrust caused when air molecules hit surface of helicopter, slowing it down. I think this should be very easy. Blue is true, red is false. And let's see. The reason it's still going is because someone still hasn't put in. True, yes, everyone got that one. Awesome. Okay, so we know about drag. All right, Chris, you've moved up to second place. So you probably hit it up really fast. So good. Followed by Zan. Maybe Zan can come back. All right, weight. Weight is force working against lift caused by gravity's downward pull on the helicopter. Blue is true, red is false. This one should be another easy one. I put some free ones. All right, awesome. Oh, Andre, you've come back. Okay, all right. I think it's the second. Heavy objects can affect the helicopter's flight. Blue is true, red is false.
That's
I know, what's
space. Spacey picture that.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Because you know, like a helicopter that rotates to like metal.
Yeah, we get it.
Yeah. I was like putting the picture. I was like, I wonder if they're gonna get it. All right, cool. Oh, Andre, you really want that gift card? Okay. Okay. All right.
Gift card?
Yeah, there's a gift card. Yeah. Maybe now points are gonna start appearing. Airplanes can fly at high speeds compared with helicopters. Or compared to helicopters. Let's go ahead and hit next on this one.
Depends on what helicopter.
True. You seen the Black Hawk replacement?
Sikorsky has one that did 257 knots or something like that.
Airplanes can lift as moving air passes over a horizontal rotor.
Oh, okay, I want to change my answer.
Answer the first one.
It's not happening.
It doesn't let me go back.
Sure. All right, good. One person.
That was me.
Oh, 'cause-
I told you I wanted to go back.
well, you know what, Mike, you still got 4,378 points. So
Because you're grading on a curve.
yeah. All right, and Chris is on fire. Look at that. He's on the streak there. Last question. This is the do or die.
I can't make it up.
Leonardo da
More
Vinci, and we got Leonardo DiCaprio. Leonardo da Vinci designed the first helicopter in 1834. True or false?
18.
1850.
I don't know, I wasn't paying attention.
Too long,
Let's see
didn't
who
we?
it is.
What's that?
TLDR.
Oh, come on, guys, really? Okay, look, yeah, Leonardo da Vinci did, but 1834, he was dead by that time. He was dead in 1834.
So
So
you said 1440.
1480, yeah.
14, yeah.
So it's false, you know, because he was dead at the time.
Well, you gave the wrong answer.
So who is third place? Hey You. Who was Hey You, by the way? Oh, okay. Cool. Second place was Andre, and first place, Chris. Alright.
Good job.
Only one of us is taking an FAA exam next week.
Alright,
so-
Chris. You're the winner. There you go.
Oh.
Coffee bean.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I would have been right on his tail, but I made that one wrong answer twice.
Okay.
Literally sleeping with the far aim at this point.
Alright, cool.
What's that?
Literally sleeping
Sleeping
with
with
the
the
far
far
aim on my
Alright.
my nightstand.
Well,
Good job.
Tim Peterson was playing online. And he goes, "There's a big delay between our live meeting versus the online game. The
Latency.
trivia questions time out before I'm able to see the questions on the TV screen, but I got them all right." Wink, wink.
Who said that?
That was Tim Peterson.
Oh, Tim.
Alright, awesome.
Good job.
Great. All right, well, thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed the lesson tonight. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Thanks.
Good job.
Thank you. Okay, so we don't have any visitors tonight, I don't think, so I can't embarrass them. And so I do have a small announcement. I don't know if anybody knows, but I've got to unfortunately got to my 4-year term in being the commander here, so they're asking me to find a replacement and do it quickly, or they're gonna do it for me. So, if anybody wants to stand up and say I'll be the commander, I'd certainly like to congratulate you for doing that. However, I don't think anybody's going to, so I've asked a few people individually, and didn't get a good response, so. Here's the thing that happens. So if we don't find anybody who wants to be a commander from Squadron 5, then they're gonna go outside of Squadron 5 to find one.
I just can't take on any more stuff.
Hopefully-
for Christ's sakes.
What's that, Bob?
I can't take on any more stuff. My wife's gonna divorce me.
We knew that, so we were gonna ask you, but, you know, we were gonna wait. But anyway, so, yeah. So we need really somebody from Squadron 5 to, you know, take the reins and keep the legacy going. A pilot would be the most preferable one, so.
How come they do those 4-year things?
What's that?
How come it's only just 4 years?
There is,
They would like to rotate people, you know, so you don't get you don't stay too long and the new guys don't get a chance to do it, so they cut it off at 4. It used to be 3.
Oh,
And then
wow.
they changed it, less than 5 years ago, I think, they changed it to 4.
Wow.
So,
Back in the day, Squadron 5,
it used to
they
be
used to
1.
rotate him every year.
Yeah,
Every
but see, you run out of
year.
people really
But
quickly
see,
that way.
every year, yeah, that's not good, because then consistency too.
Right, right.
You
well,
know,
what
So-
it did, you had a commander and you had a vice commander, and the vice commander moved up and you brought in a new one behind him.
oh,
Yeah.
And so you just kept moving
And
down the
typically, that's the way
line,
it's
you know.
supposed to be, but I've had, I don't know, 3 or 4 vice commanders come through here, and
so
then
who is our vice commander? Do
we,
know?
we don't have one right now.
Oh, no? Okay.
Yeah, no biggie.
So, I mean, I've been searching for somebody to take the, I
Yeah,
had
since
Carolyn
has-
Usher. Did you talk to Carolyn Usher, by the way?
I did.
And she said,
Well, basically now, no, she's vice commander where she's at.
over there, yeah.
But once they announce the opening,
Right.
she said maybe, but I doubt it.
Is she in the Squadron 45?
Yeah.
Yeah. She was here, though.
Oh.
Yeah, she's very good. She would have been a good candidate, but she did transfer from here to 45, so, which is March.
And you know, speaking of that, I saw that one email from the group commander about how inviting us to the other
Mhm.
group events. I think that's a pretty good idea. I like that.
Yeah, Ken's got a pretty good idea there to kind of get us all to mingle.
Yeah, I
and,
like
you know,
that.
Start acting as a group instead of individual teams,
That's a
which is a
good
pretty
idea.
good idea, so.
Next Saturday, right?
I'm not sure, I didn't read it, so.
You talking about the ball?
Anyway.
Yeah, the winter ball.
Yeah, the ball's the 26th.
So, if you know anybody who wants to be, a squadron commander for Squadron 5 here, tell them to let me know, and I'll talk to them about it and see if I can get them in. Now, that doesn't mean that the group commander and the wing commander are gonna accept them. It's just a better chance that, we get somebody from Squadron 5 to do that.
Isn't there some kind of qualifications that you're supposed to
There,
have?
there may be, typically, if nobody else, stands up and wants the job, then, there's no competition there, you don't really have to have any qualifications. Anybody could take commander, so you don't have to have a special rank.
You've got first lieutenants running squadrons right now because
Right.
lack of people or.
Remember, all the rules
COVID did
changed.
nothing.
Just, the last time all the rules changed, things are getting harder to
It used to
promote
be
people now, so.
lieutenants and above, and then it went majors and above, and then
Yeah.
now they've gone back down because of people, and COVID hasn't helped out any of the
No,
squadrons as far as attendance is concerned.
But I thought you had to be gone to commander school or something.
Well, they'll send you to commander school anyway. If you haven't gone, that's something that they will do. They'll put you in a class to do unit commander school. And the wing will pay for it, or the wing or the group will pay for it. They did me, so. Now, I've had 2 terms here. I had a term, I was, several years ago, I started the term, then I had my heart condition. I had to kind of give the reins to somebody else for a while and back out. So, to do therapy and rehab and all that stuff, so. So I was only 2 years on that. particular
Of
one,
the
but I
four.
have been 4 years on this one, yeah,
Oh, wow.
so, this term. So anybody, let me know. All right, well, any old business, anything, Bob? Anything to talk about? Chris, you got anything?
No?
David?
We're doing pretty good as far as safety and getting the stuff in, thanks to Roger.
Thanks to Roger, we
And
were
by the
always on
way,
top of
Roger-
that.
Today Roger celebrated his anniversary, that's why he's not here.
Oh, very good. If you're online, Roger,
But
th-
There are a
congratulations.
couple squadrons within the group that are, they've done it, but they don't, the safety officer's not putting the stuff in soon enough. So then I get messaging and I have to go out with something and,
Yeah.
you know, and I.
Well, Bob is the group safety officer.
So I sent it
for
out to
3.
the commanders, although I noticed that it
Oh,
didn't
for
go. You know, I send it, and then I get a message a week later, it didn't go out, and then I try and change the format a little bit, and I found out that if I put safety officers all in one word, it goes out, but if I put safety with a space and then officers, like the format shows, it doesn't work, so I don't know, I give up on some of this stuff.
I gave you a 42,000 page,
I got it, and that's what I look at, and I have to handwrite in there.
yeah.
The changes that the thing doesn't work.
Well, I gave you 2. Throw
Yep.
the old one away, because it doesn't work. But the newer one should work. So.
Yeah, so, anyway. No,
I know there's, what, 258 different categories or something like that. There's
Yeah,
quite a few.
it goes throughout the California wing, so.
Yeah.
I
For
mean,
the
it's about
distribution
20
list,
pages,
right.
15 pages.
So Lon, how's our airplane?
Well, I updated the nav database on Zelda tonight.
Oh, great.
So that's good till March 24th.
Yeah, we got the new card reader and we got all the new software and all the new drivers and everything works fine now. So.
Worked, and there's no discrepancies open
Okay.
on the plane.
Nice.
And I put the O2 sensor in Cap 437, and I don't have any update on 437. We, you know, we probably won't get an update for a month or 2, I would imagine. The SARX is still going on. We're still planning the SARX on the weekend, 19th and 20th. Right now, I am the ops section chief. We haven't done a lot of planning, but so if you guys want to do that, if you want to go to that SARX and do any participation, make sure you fill out the registration, the newest registration. And
There's 3
get that in.
openings for,
What's that?
there's 3 openings when I was on it the other day. I think on Sunday, I opened up the thing and it shows that there's 3 openings. One is the safety,
Mission safety officer.
mission safety officer, and then there's 2 others that are open. I forgot, I'll be honest with you.
Staff
Yeah.
assistant,
I think PIO is one of them, public information officer, and I can't remember what else. Chris, are you still going as MSA,
as both
right?
MSA and MS.
And mission scanner, right? Okay.
I'm
So
gonna try and
you have a
come, but
preference
I
on
haven't-
mission scanner first,
Of
right?
course.
Okay.
I think I'm just gonna come, but I have a meeting that Saturday morning at Lake Arrowhead, so I won't come in till either that afternoon or just come in on Sunday to
Right.
see if I can help out, that's about it.
So we're gonna have 4 airplanes now. We're gonna have three airplanes that are gonna be doing scanner training and
Awesome.
and that kind of stuff. And then we're gonna have 1 hybrid that's gonna be deployed. So we'd like to have Group 3 mission pilots working that first, and then if we can't fill that with Group 3, then we're gonna go outside the group and get some of the other guys. And I already have 3 or 4 names from other groups, Group 1, really fine pilots. I've flown, I've worked with them quite a bit, so. But we wanna do Group 3 guys first, so. Do we have any mission, transport mission pilots that wanna fly yet?
He's
No,
so
I
close.
still have to go
Yeah.
through my training. The weather
You haven't got
wasn't
your
that
Form
great.
5 yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, because transport mission pilot can do hybrid, right? So,
I hope at least
which
I'll
by the way is the
finish,
most boring job in the world, because you're at
It is
10,000 feet
boring.
doing circles.
I went
you know.
on one recently.
Yeah,
Who will be a low-time new pilot that would love to do mission transport?
Yeah. well,
Yeah.
where's your Form 5? Hurry up.
I'm getting there.
You got what, a week and a half? Piece of cake. You
Uh,
can do them both tomorrow.
Well, I also need the hours, that's the other problem.
How many you have to have? 150 hours for,
100.
100 hours for transport mission pilot?
Yeah.
You don't have that yet?
100 PIC, 50 cross country.
What do you have for PSE?
What the requirements
So
for the
far.
private, 10 hours, something like that.
PIC?
Yeah, it's a requirement for the FAA.
10 hours?
Yeah, just 10.
I thought it was more than that.
Mm-mm.
What's your total time?
62.
82?
62.
Oh, 62, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what the national average, what, 72 hours or something?
Yeah.
72, 75 hours. So you're doing better than average. So, pat yourself on the back. Okay, anybody else have anything else? How's finance doing? We got money? Finally?
More, yes,
No.
I'm still, I'm reconciling the account.
Okay.
Going through the records, hopefully by next meeting,
Okay,
I will have everything in order.
okay, good.
And we will have, I'll try to schedule right after the next meeting to have a finance committee to go over it.
Great, we gotta do a finance committee every quarter, so I don't even know for how far we're behind, we're one
This-
behind. So,
Are we online?
do a finance- Bob's on the finance committee, you're on the finance committee, I'm on the finance committee. So we have to have 3 of the 4.
Terry, I believe, right?
Terry Pratt's on the finance committee. So, all right, well, that's it, guys.
Okay,
Meeting's adjourned.
thank you for your time.